Good day, fashion friends. On Wednesdays, we wear pink. No, I am not talking about Mean Girls, and no, I am not talking about Victoria's Secret. I'm talking about Pink, the rock star, or pop star, depending on how you interpret her music. Anybody that knows anything about Pink, she is a badass. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how I took a thrifted jacket and a thrifted pair of jeans, used items that I already had on hand to make a special outfit for my special concert event. My Pink concert happened to be on a Wednesday. Serendipity? Who knows? But on Wednesday, we wore pink to see Pink. So one of the first things that I have that I'm going to overhaul is this pearl embellished jacket. Super cute. Found it at the thrift store, and it had a name on the back. I couldn't even really read it, but I noticed that this looked like this had been put on by a Cricut or like a vinyl iron-on. So I literally just started. I've already taken the last name off, but this is just peeling off. Very easy with no damage to the jacket. So sometimes if you find something that is personalized, take another look at it because it might be usable. Any spots that stick, I can use a little bit of alcohol. Alcohol tends to neutralize any stickiness, and it's also good for if you have something that's glued on with hot glue. It will make hot glued items come apart off of fabric. So little tip there for you. So I am just going to finish peeling this off because I'm sure you don't want to watch me do this. And we'll see. I have an idea of what I'm going to do, and it's going to take me some time. I don't want to do anything permanent to this jacket. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get a panel of denim from a pair of jeans, embellish that, do something on that, and then pin this onto the jacket because it would look cool anyway. And then I can remove it if I want to do something else to this. Another part of my outfit that I'm going to work on are these pair of jeans. They are a little high-waisted and they are a wide leg. And the inspiration pictures that I found online were also a wide leg. So I'm going to cut them up the side or take out this seam. And I have these little crystal trims that I bought. Happen to have on hand just because I love the color pink. But that's what they look like. So I'm going to put these down the side. And then I also happen to have on hand these pink little sequin trims. So I can add these around the pockets on the front or around the back. I have a pink sequin prom dress that is about this color that I'm going to cut up and make patches behind the distress portion. So if I want, if I really want to get fancy, I can take this trim. I think that'd be too much with the pink and the pink. But yeah, I think I'm just going to embellish the pockets with this. So it'll be easy peasy. So I have 3 bags of this, and this is 1 yard each. So I have 3 yards of that. So that is what I'm going to do to the pants. First thing that I did and am going to do, I held them up, and I want to cut the side up to about here, like right below my waist. So I marked with chalk. Now I'm going to measure how long that is, because if memory serves me correctly, these are the right length for me. Wait a minute, let me check. I'm like a 29 inseam. So yeah, these are 29 inseams, so they are the right length for me. So I want to cut up to 28.5 on the other side. So I'm going to lay these out and measure 28.5. 28.5, and take my chalk and make my mark. Okay. So now I'm going to cut out this seam instead of just taking it out, and then I won't have to worry about the extra like seamage, the extra seam allowance. So I am just going to cut this off, and it will create like a nice open area. Okay, now I am going to actually turn these inside out, and I'm going to cut right up against this seam right here, so that I'm not cutting out a bunch of material, because I don't want this to be flat and then cut on this side, because then I'll be missing a bunch of material. So I'm going to cut right along that seam right there. All right, I have the first side clipped on. So I clipped it in a way that the crystals are going to be in the center, and I couldn't decide on the outside or inside, but I thought the inside would be much cooler, and let's hope that that works out. I tried them on. It should work out. So they're going to, it's going to look like that. So I'm going to sew this side on because I'm out of clips, and then I'll do the other side. I got both sides of the legs sewn on. Some spots I had to glue the edges down because this tends to unravel and fray. So I had to add a little glue to glue some spots down so it wouldn't unravel. But I'm going to trim that on the bottom there. That one I had to, again, I don't know if you can see that. Let me come in close here. There. So you can see how this is just like that rope stuff, and as soon as you cut it, it just unravels. So I had to add a little touch of glue. This side I got to fix. So now what I'm going to do is use this trim, and I'm going to stitch around the pockets. Then the next step after this, I will drag out the prom dress that is down in the basement and start cutting pieces to stitch into the holes. This is the sequin prom dress that I have had for years from my former creative photographer days. It is, apparently it's still new with tags, but I have not used it. I've not really tried to sell it. It's just been in my archive. So I am going to cut out patches from this. I'm going to use the satin material behind it as well, because that doesn't look very comfortable. And I'm going to make patches for the distressed areas of the front of the jean, and then I'm going to sew these in. All right, here's where I am now. I measured the size of patches that I needed. I pinned the lining and the sequins together because this is a little rough and I didn't want that rubbing on my leg. So I pinned it together, measured out what I needed, I cut it, and then I sewed it together so it wouldn't slide. So I just made like a little square. And then I pinned each one into each hole on both legs, and now I will just sew all the way around. Not sure if I'm going to do a zigzag. I think I'm just going to do a straight stitch. I do have some extra patch on the back side that I went ahead and made extra just in case I mismeasured. I don't think I'll trim that away. I think I'm just going to leave it unless it's really bad, if it's like a lot. But I'm going to wait before I trim it. I'm going to sew everything down. And so this is what they are looking like so far. And then there's the pockets. I'm not sure if I showed that, but there's the pockets. So now I'm going to sew down the sequins. Okay, the pants are finished. So now I'm going to start on the jacket. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a piece of paper. I'm going to make a pattern that will fit on the inside of these seams. And then I'm going to use that pattern and cut some pieces of the sequin fabric and stitch it onto here. It will go under the pockets. I have them pinned up so they're out of the way. So then the flap of the pocket will go over top of it. I'm going to stitch from here to here. I don't really, well, I'm not going to use the pocket, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch it all the way up and across, because again, these pockets are so tiny, I just really don't even use them. And if I decide to take it off because I'm not cutting out the panel, then I can take the pink off if I decide to do something different. So that is what's going to go onto the front, and I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do for the back. All right, I have the sequin patch sewed on, and cool thing, instead of having to sew across the top, I put cut a little buttonhole, put it over the buttons, so it's going to keep that top on, and I didn't have to sew that across, and then that will just close and cover that, and this will stay in place. So that actually worked out pretty handy. Now I need to decide what to do for the back. I want to do something that lights up. I have fairy lights that I just ordered from Amazon, and they're supposed to be here tomorrow. So even if they get here tomorrow, which is Friday, or if they get here Saturday, then I will still be able to do something light up on here. But I think what I want to do, like I said, I'm going to make a panel, and I have pink zebra see-through material. So I think I want to try to find like pink in some like fun, funky letters, and then do those in pink. And instead of trying to sew them on, I think I'm just going to glue them on, because it's going to be a lot of back and forth and round to stitch that on. But I don't know if I can start that if I don't have the lights. So I'm not sure. So now I need to figure out what I want to do to the rest. I have some white fur that I think would be really cool to maybe add like some fur epaulettes on the shoulders. I'd have to hand sew that on. That could be cool. So I'm going to play around with that and see what it looks like. Let me get the fur. Okay, so here's my predicament with the fur. So in order to make epaulettes, they have to go up on the shoulder, which in case will then cover up the pearls. And I really don't want to do that. Like, that's why I purchased this, because it already had the pearls on it. And they are not glued on or sewed on. They are stud set. So that's a good thing. So my thought was to put it on the sleeve, but then it's down too far and it just doesn't look right. So I'm wondering if maybe I just do either fur cuffs, but this hangs down. So maybe I'm just going to stitch on some sequin material onto the cuffs. I measured my cuff. It is 1 3/4 by 9 inches. So I'm going to cut 2 of these and then sew them onto my cuff. I don't have anything overlapping. I'm not worried about that. If I cut it straight and sew it straight, it will be fine. And then again, I have the little button where it's going to be hard to sew around the button. I will just put like a little hole and then stitch on this side. All right, here we go. All right, my 2 cuff pieces are cut, and now it's time to stitch them on to the cuffs. So I've decided what I wanted to do on the back of the jacket, and what I did was I had this pink glitter kind of crickets material that has adhesive on the back. So I printed out a pink logo that I like and flipped them backwards, of course. I cut out the letters, flipped them backwards, traced it on the back of the paper, and now I am sticking that to the jacket. It's actually sticking pretty well, so I don't think I need to use fabric glue. And in the event, again, that I want to change this jacket, most everything is temporary. In addition, everything that I've used outside of purchasing the jeans at a thrift store, the jacket at a thrift store, the fringe, the crystal dangle beads, the sequin dress, and the pink glitter paper, I all had on hand. So I've been trying to use what I have on hand in order to work on this project, to also use up supplies and kind of get them out of my way, I guess. But again, if I want to reuse any of this, I can always take it apart. Everything could be taken off, peeled off, unstitched, and all that. So I have fairy lights on order. I'm still not sure if I'm gonna use the fairy lights or not. I would really like to light up the pink logo, but that would require putting holes through the jacket and through that, and then if it doesn't work, then I've got to redo that, and then I have holes in the jacket. So not sure what I'm going to do with that. If I don't use the fairy lights, then I'll just have them for another project.